quick structure of this webinar, we'll be spending an hour and a half roughly. I will, a lot of the questions that have come from you will have already been shared with the panelists, and they will be taking some of them. And as the webinar is going on, please feel free to add your questions and in the chat option, and we will try and take as many of them as possible during the course of the webinar. I'd like to quickly introduce our panel as well for the benefit of everybody. We have Rajni Sinha, Chief Economist and National Director at Knight Frank India. Sanjay Dutt, MD and CEO, Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited. Mr. Mahesh Khaitan, Director, Salarpuria Satwa. Mr. Pradeep Agarwal, Founder and Chairman, Signature Global Group and Chairman of ASSOCHAM National Council. And Mr. Sushil Mota, Chairman, Merlin Group and President of CREDAI in West Bengal. And all these friends of mine carry, decades of, I think, industry experience, so very, very warm welcome to all of you to this. Thank you so much for being here. So to kick off things, I'd like some opening, comments from each one of you. And Rajni, maybe we could start with you in a couple of minutes on the topic of the webinar. If you can share your opening comments, and then we'll take it on from there.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So before we move on to real estate sector, I will just like to talk a little about what's happening in the economy. So as you're all aware, Indian economy was already slowing down before this crisis hit us. The last GDP quarterly number that we have for the third quarter of FY20, we recorded a GDP growth of 4.7%, which is the lowest in the last 6 years. So unfortunately, this crisis has hit us at a time when the economy was already slowing down. And in the last 1.5 months, we have had the most strictest lockdown. If we compare to what globally the other governments have done, we have had one of the most strict lockdown. So obviously, this is going to have an impact on the economy. And the expectation is that the first quarter of this fiscal, that is April to June quarter, we are definitely going to have a contraction. In fact, there are some forecasters who are expecting that for the full fiscal year, this fiscal year FY21, we are going to have a contraction in the economy. But broadly, the expectation is that India's economy growth, if not a contraction, it would be a sub 2% growth. So obviously, we are talking about a slowdown. There's expectation of huge job losses, income losses. We are already seeing some of these things flowing in the news, and going forward could worsen. So obviously, demand will be hit for all the sectors, and real estate is going to be no exception. In fact, for real estate sector, housing is a big ticket item. So if people are going to be so unsure about their incomes and jobs going forward, it would put a toll on the demand. So real estate sector, just like all other sectors, would also be severely hit. And in fact, just like the economy, real estate sector, especially the residential segment, was already going through a slowdown. So just when it was just about starting to, recover, now this crisis has hit us. So it's going to be that much more difficult for the economy and for the real estate sector to come out of this crisis.
Thanks, Rajni, for those comments. And I couldn't agree more with you that the sector has actually seen a lot of hits and issues in the past as well. And just when things were looking to slightly get better, this impact has happened. Sanjay, coming to you, any quick opening comments from you?
I believe every time there is a disruption, whether it is global financial crisis or economy or sectors going through cyclical momentums, the sector are bound to get affected. Now, who would have thought airlines will have consolidation? In the same way, telecom sector did consolidation. Banking sector is going through a consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised in some other sectors. So like that, I believe real estate sector was going through consolidation. COVID-19 has accelerated few activities. The biggest change has been embracing the digitization, and therefore also in a way, led to a lot of investors who were not looking at real estate as an asset class as they did 10 years ago, as you know. They're returning. And the dollar rupee situation has also helped NRIs who are now looking at real estate once again. So we thought the first quarter will be a complete wash. However, we have seen nearly 50% sales happening already. So it's very encouraging. So I believe for branded players and trusted names who are known for their product will do and do recover some. Short term, there may be a setback, but I have absolute belief that the moment gradual opening happens over next 6 to 12 months, you will see revival of real estate for sure. And mind you, residential was only a part of the whole real estate landscape. So office was doing well, warehousing was doing well, all the other segments and co-working, co-living were doing well. So it was only affordable housing which perhaps was doing better. Rest of the sector was not, and that too because of legacy projects. So I think even though we are coming out from the downside, you will see the upside of the downside in next 6 to 12 months.
Sure, thanks, Sanjay. Mahesh, coming to you, what would you like to share with our buyers and investors in your opening remarks?
Well, see, I would just like to do split out basically real estate in different sectors. Real estate is not only basically residential only, and other factor also impact to residentials. We are towards more about the commercials. So basically how the commercial corporates, they are looking about the real estate point of view and how they are looking kind of work from home. So how the work from home will impact to real estate industry as well as residential industry. We are looking at that prospect point of view. See, I was in touch with some of my corporate clients. Some of clients, they said work from home will likely to be keep continuing as whatever right now is going on right now, maybe another 3 or 4 quarters. But long prospect point of view, it may not be sustainable because a lot of social impact might likely to come when the work from home. So which already we started realizing that kind of some of companies, kind of employees, they started reacting in the how the reactions are not like that great. So when the work from home starts, I feel like even 30-40% also say example work from home comes, definitely that will again, it'll get boost to the residential industry. So residential market today, if I'm having a 2-bedroom flat, when work from home comes, definitely my requirement will go to another 1 more extra bedrooms. So as long as real estate is concerned, definitely that will might be affecting the commercial property, but it will get boost to another residential property. So it will compensate to that prospect point of view. As long as when I just divide in different part of in the entire industry, real estate industry, like commercial, retail, hospitality, as well as corporates and housing sectors. Yes, there's the biggest impact would be in the retail industry today, which might take a couple of quarters to come back. As long as corporates are concerned, Sanjay, you surprised, like we got in last 3 days, 4 days, 3 RFPs, which is around million square feet of RFPs. And few of existing customer also, yes, there's a small time customer, there's impact, but big customers, they are looking, yes, we are not going back right now. And we'll wait, see how the situation goes. But 3-4 new inquiry which has been generated. And you might have heard also in Bangalore, one biggest deal been closed, like that might be online companies, 2 million square feet, they're closing last week. So it's that's a corporate sector is concerned. We don't see, might be effect might be for 1 or 2 quarters. Yes, this year's, I can say we may not be able to achieve the numbers. We might be, last year we might have achieved around 45 million plus. We might have to restrict our occupancy point of view, I'm talking here. It might be restricted around 20 million square feet. But as a way forward, we don't seem to incorporate. And 100 square feet generated to 3 square feet of residential market. So we don't think there's a much challenge, but the impact is concerned, definitely there will be impact would be there. It's nothing, we cannot say that impact won't be there, especially in real estate. Real estate is only the thing which impact is a front barrier, as like what you are seeing right now for the COVID-19, like doctors and police are their front barriers. Similar way, any economy, the real estate is first who face all the burning. So definitely that impact would be there. So this, you too, Manish.
Thank you. Thanks, Mahesh. I think, various sectors and subsectors within the industry may play out differently, as you were mentioning, and I think Sanjay was also alluding to that. Within residential as well, I think what we are seeing on our platform, the demand is varying, right, depending on whether it's affordable segment, premium segment, mid-price segment. And likewise in commercial as well, we are seeing various different extent of either increase or decrease, depending on which particular property type in commercial we're talking of, right? So warehousing is seeing a sudden spurt on 99 acres in terms of demand from end buyers, whereas retail has gone down because of obvious reasons. So couldn't agree more with that. Just as we speak, I think we've got a full house for this webinar. This webinar allows us to host 500 people on the Zoom application, and we've also now opened the feed for Facebook when we started. So I'm sure there are many more people, buyers and investors joining us there. Coming to you, Pradeep, opening comments from you on how should keeping especially from a buyer's perspective, how should they think about real estate buying or investing during these times?
Right. So good evening, everyone. First of all, COVID-19 को जो भी वे में देखा जाए, इन माय वे एक टीचर की तरह COVID-19 रहा है, जो ये पीछे 2 मंथ में एज ए रियल एस्टेट डेवलपर जितना हमने लर्न किया है, शायद पिछले 7 से 8 साल में भी उतना हम लर्न नहीं कर पाए जितना लास्ट 2-3 मंथ में हम कर पाए हैं। और दूसरी चीजें, कुछ जहां पे समस्या है वहां अपॉर्चुनिटी पैदा हो रही है। आज आप देखिए कि रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर जो ऑलरेडी एक मंदी के दौर से गुजर रहा था, लेकिन आज बिल्कुल डिफरेंट एनवायरनमेंट हो गया। आज क्योंकि रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर में, जैसे अभी और भी पैनलिस्ट ने कहा, कि केवल रेजिडेंशियल नहीं है या केवल कमर्शियल नहीं है, और भी उसके अंदर बहुत बड़े सेगमेंट है। अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग भी एक ऐसा सेक्टर है जो उस रेजिडेंशियल में बहुत बड़ा पोर्शन है। और सबसे बढ़िया बात क्या रही है इस कोविड-19 के अंदर, कि जो लोग घर अभी तक लेने की बजाय रेंटल में रहना ज्यादा पसंद करते थे, बिकॉज ऑफ कम यील्ड के जो अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट थी वो अदर देन एसेट क्लास में इन्वेस्ट करते थे, उन लोगों की क्वेरीज अब उन अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग की तरफ ज्यादा बढ़ी हैं जो कंपेयर टू बिफोर थी। अगर आप पिछले 2 महीने की बात करें तो जो हमारी ऑनलाइन जो इंक्वायरी है वो लगभग 15% ज्यादा हो रही है कंपेयर टू बिफोर। और एक जो माइंडसेट है वो चेंज हुआ है। अगर हम ओवरऑल बात करें तो आज जब हम कस्टमर से बात कर रहे हैं कि आप क्यों घर लेना चाहते हैं, तो उनका कंसर्न है कि इससे पहले अगर हम एज ए रेंटल भी कहीं रह रहे थे, तो अब जो माइंडसेट है वो इतना कंफर्ट जोन में नहीं है कि एक अपना घर जरूर होना चाहिए। ये जो माइंड चेंज है ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। इससे मुझे लगता है जो डिमांड है वो जनरेट होगी। दूसरा, जो गवर्नमेंट है वो भी, अगर पिछले 2 दिन की बात करें तो अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग फोकस रही है। चाहे अगर कल भी जो अनाउंसमेंट हमारे एफएम ने किए हैं उसमें अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग को और उन्होंने 1 साल के लिए प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना में सीएलआर स्कीम को आगे लेके गए हैं। तो ऐसे बहुत सारे की पॉइंट हैं जो लोगों को अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं। और नेचुरली आगे सेशन में भी आप मुझे यानी जो भी चीजें पूछेंगे, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि अगर आप पूछते हैं कि राइट टाइम क्या है प्रॉपर्टी बाय करने का, तो मुझे लगता है दिस इज द राइट टाइम टू बाय। लेकिन चॉइस करनी है राइट डेवलपर की, राइट साइज की, राइट लोकेशन की। अगर ये चीजें आपको मिल रही हैं तो शायद मुझे लगता है कि इससे बेहतर टाइम आने वाले टाइम में नहीं मिल पाएगा।
Thanks, Pradeep. Thank you for those comments. Sushil, moving on to you, what would you like to share with our buyers and investors in terms of how they should, approach real estate buying right now in these times?
Let me tell you that we Indians are quite resilient, population, including our sector. Real estate is also quite a resilient sector. We have seen a lot of ups and downs in life. I've been in real estate for last more than 3.5 decades, and we have seen a lot of ups and downs. And the sector has always come out stronger. The country has always come out stronger from all the challenges. So I think this challenge this situation with COVID will also open up a lot of new opportunities. Yesterday, the announcement which was made by FM for the new class of housing for the migratory workers, if that can be handled properly, if a business model can be developed out of that, we can see a slum eradication process. So I think the country is right now going into the right direction with these kind of announcements. What we have been seeing in last 2 days for all the sectors. I don't think we will have major problem. Maybe 1 quarter or 2 quarters we'll have issues, but I think post November, December business will be as usual. This year the developers will focus more on completing our existing projects. We will hardly see new launches, and that will help us in clearing our existing inventories, and that will also keep the prices under control, because there will be some dip in demand, but at the same time, with a lot of dip in the inventories, new inventories coming, they'll be balancing out. The price movement, whether it will go down or go up or will remain stable, will largely depend on geography to geography also. You see, ours is a large country, very big country with so many micro markets and with so many type of housing. It is affordable, mid, luxury. So it will really depend, there may be some oversupply in markets like Pune or Bangalore, but when you come to Calcutta, in fact, last 2 years we had undersupply, oversales, because of the disruptions like RERA and GST and all. We had almost 65% launches than only we have. So this will depend again on the price range also. The developers are already selling with wafer thin margin. So the prices will remain stable, I believe so.
I see. Thank you, Sushil. I think since you mentioned prices, I think a lot of our buyers have been asking questions about that. And coming to you, Rajni, on the prices front, majority of the viewers who have logged in today, they are actually really wanting to know what is the panel's view on how prices are going to go, right? Especially in residential real estate. And we had done a survey internally in 99 Acres amongst our past, users, and almost 90% of them in that survey were expecting a price drop, right? And so, is that something that you feel is likely to happen, or how do you see the price picture emerging in residential real estate?
So, Manish, currently, if we have to quantify any impact for real estate sector of this crisis, that's very difficult because we really don't know how this crisis is going to pan out. So, if you look at the scenario currently, in India, at least in India, the infection rate has not yet peaked. So, though the economy has gradually started opening up, we still don't know what's going to be the impact of this whole crisis on the economy and on the real estate sector. So yes, things are gradually opening up, but we still don't know how bad things can get from. As far as prices are concerned, like I said, for real estate sector, just like any other sector, there would be an adverse impact on demand. So just to give you a perspective, I spoke that, there is this concern of job losses, income losses going forward. Just to give you some perspective on that. So we don't have any official data release on unemployment in India. But CMI, the private agency which releases the unemployment data, they said in April, India's unemployment rate rose to 23%, vis-a-vis 8% that we had in the previous month, in the month of March. So that's the kind of unemployment and job losses that we are talking about. So obviously that's going to have a severe impact on demand. As far as the prices are concerned for real estate sector, that would also, the quantum of fall would depend on eventually how bad will this situation get. And, so yes, demand will be hit, but how much we'll have to see over a period of time. As far as supply is concerned, supply will also get impacted. Because right now we are already talking about these supply bottlenecks, because of which in the near term, raw material prices will go up, labor will be an issue, and most importantly for the developed community, credit availability will be an issue. So RBI has been injecting liquidity into the system, but the banks have to, get out of this risk aversion mode and start lending. So if that doesn't happen, supply will also be a constraint. So obviously, so net, I'm saying there will be an impact on price, but how much it's difficult to quantify because we still don't know how bad will be the impact of this COVID crisis on economy and on the real estate sector.
Yeah, sure. I think when we did a survey in amongst our users around what we are seeing in terms of prices on the platform, almost there's a drop of around 10 to 12% in resale as well as new home kind of prices for the similar kind of like-to-like properties. And I'm talking now versus let's say 3 months back, right? Now, of course, it's not the price drop is not uniform. It is not across every city, every project, and there's a lot of variation at a local level. But Sanjay, coming to you, do you see prices go down? Do you see them go down uniformly everywhere? And do you see any change in price as a very temporary phenomenon, or do you see that as a more permanent phenomenon?
Human nature is to expect reduction in prices by default. Just the way every employee in the organization wants double-digit increase in salary. You ask anybody, they will never say, I need single-digit increment in my salary. Same way they want double-digit reduction in every price of the affordable homes or any homes. So it's human psychology against market reality. First of all, 2 lakh crore worth of projects are in the box. They are waiting for last mile funding. The stress because of speculative construction and speculating demand, which happened 10 years ago, as you know, has led to excessive speculation by developers and over leverage. If 2 lakh worth crore projects are stuck because of last mile funding, that means what Rajni was saying, supply will also be a constraint. Now, if that was not the case, the government would not have opened 20,000 crore of distress fund under Alternative Investment Fund with Swami led by SBI Caps to provide the last mile liquidity. But that last mile liquidity, by the time it reaches, the free cash flow from the project may not be there. And after COVID, sales velocity may reduce further and therefore cost of completion will go up. So I believe there'll be many projects where just the way developers were not reducing prices earlier, finally they did. Now NBFCs are not reducing prices because if they reduce the prices, they will have to take haircut, and their investors, the people who have raised money through mutual funds, etc., will have to take a haircut. Now that's a tough call. Secondly, I think we had peak time of 5 lakh units sale a year, It came down to 4, then 2.5, maybe 2 lakh in today's market. The only difference was that earlier we had end users, speculators, and investors. Now we have only end users. So the real demand has always remained, if you ask me. Yes, like I said in my opening remark, the investor segment led by NRIs and dollar rupee situation, led by meltdown in the equity markets and the negative situations of mutual funds where most of the money went, they are returning back to real estate. Then in addition to this, Pradeep ji mentioned, lot of tenants experienced insecurity. They believe कि एक छत तो होनी चाहिए. They may not make a second investment or third investment, but at least one they can. And to all your investors, Manish, is very important. The end user and the investor is making two returns. One, they are creating wealth by borrowing money from banks at 7.5%, which is cheaper than commercial borrowing money. You're getting an opportunity to create wealth for yourself. Second, you are actually buying for yourself, which is security. Third, you can have a rental income. Yes, it is low, 1.5 to 2%. But if you notice, commercial yields have also come down. They have come down from 12 to 8.5 today. In retail market, it is 6%, by the way. If in retail market, it is 6%, and you are able to borrow at a lower rate than commercial rate, and because in residential, there could be some minor capital appreciation also in future, because today you're buying at the right value or lower value, the blended return of the two will give you the upside. So I believe it is the developers and the banks and the lenders, they've already absorbed a lot of increases in cost. The only body which has become richer in the process is the government, who has collected maximum collection of taxes and the premiums on properties. And the other sector which has benefited is banks and NBFCs, because they became too greedy. They wanted equity kind of returns in debt instruments. So they now have to face the music as well. Otherwise, developers have already given the best deals. Now, in times like COVID, because the sales may come down in the first quarter, some developers who are on the edge, they want cash flow to service loans. Although moratorium has been increased, may liquidate their inventory by giving some subvention schemes, some payment plans, and book sales to reduce their exposure. But will they give you a headline correction of straight away 20-30%? We've been discussing this brilliant topic over last 10 years. That never happens. It is slow and gradual. And by the way, we talk in India in a very generic term. Even in one city, one location may be very different than the other. I'd like to give you our own project of Tata Housing in Rajahat in Calcutta. We are getting 15 to 25% premium in the market. And the customers are willingly giving us. We are not asking. So why should I be reducing prices where they're already giving me 25% premium? And what is the reason? And the point I made earlier, branded developers, track record, successful, good designs. The customer today understands price versus value. Is the developer giving you superior value? We know Tata Housing will always use good quality steel and cement. We will not use commercial steel in our buildings. We will use 7 kg per square feet. Some, may use less, but we will always use high quality. we will be the most compliant project. There will be no issue. I'll give you an example in Trithvam, Kochi. There was a news 2 months ago because of CRZ violations, many buildings became questionable. We had absolute clarity and we were fully compliant. Our sales have shot up in Kerala and our apartments are 2 crores plus. They're not even affordable category. So each micro market behaves differently. There will be some developers who would be perhaps stressed and willing to give more. But overall, I believe they will only give cosmetic appeal to the customer to encourage them to do sales during this lockdown period. I personally believe the values are very attractive already, in my opinion. They're so attractive that one of our buyer in Promont in Bangalore, who's living in our society as a tenant, has made 7 apartment booking for his investments also. So it's striking. And you know, my to answer earlier that investors are looking is based on hardcore data that we are witnessing across our projects. So we may still be at low volumes, but we are hoping that after the lockdown opens, there'll be a gradual increase to normalcy. And by the end of the year, we may see a lift. And since ready-to-move inventory is only 1 lakh crore, over next 2 years will be fully absorbed, because construction, as you know, you must have done research and prop equity and Lysas for us, Pankaj Kapoor was also done. The launches have come down by 35%, by the way. And with delay in construction, supply will be further restricted. So for an end user, it will be quite tough to expect a headline correction. In my opinion, homes which give you a better work environment because of work from home thought process now being also initiated, people would be willing to pay for a better unit with good infrastructure, club and amenities than they did in the past. They'll be more careful today than they were in the past. So I'm quite upbeat about it.
Okay. So I think to all the buyers who are hoping for a big price correction, I think you've given a good dose of reality, I would say, in that sense. And yes, you know, things will vary at each micro market level. So what may happen in you know, Gurgaon may be different from South Bangalore, may be different from Thane, and you know, I think buyers and investors should keep that in mind. Mahesh, coming to you, you know, from a pricing perspective, you know, how do you see real estate prices in residential going, and especially in markets like Bangalore or Thane, where a lot of new home construction activity was going on? How do you see that playing out?
I do agree with Sanjay what he said actually. Like every market has a different implications basically. As I say that South India's market is, we are mostly in South India. South India market has always been the matured market. And it needs a driven market, basically, where the buyers will always pros and cons before investing. And as you know, the stock market has come down and bank interests are all-time low today. And keeping in my view that factors currently, real estate market is considered one of the most stable investment today. As we know that customer is always king of the market, and this time further strengthen their position. So the prices, I feel, won't come down. However, developer will have to create their own win-win situation. As Sanjay said, through like various schemes, packages to close all the deals in the times. 1 second.
This is an online poll happening, Mahesh. Please continue with that.
All right.
This is for the audience. Yeah.
All right. Where is gone now? 1 second. I think I'm out or still there.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
I'm not able to see anyone now.
We can hear you, Sanjay, Mahesh.
All right. So negotiation windows are concerned for high quality developers will definitely won't widen and remain the same. So like there is a certain amount of quality that which offered, people will prefer to that. And as well as Pradeep was mentioning in his note, like real estate is always better than any other investment what you are doing it. And people are realizing the importance of the having real estate and assets class today in the investment basket, and more like reliable option offering steady returns compared to highly volatile stock market, and comes with all the heightened risk actually. And driving, see, like today RBI has today brought like almost 0.75 paisa basic point down, so definitely it'll boost to it. And today I'm thinking like almost 7.5, 7.3% interest rates are there. So definitely it will boost to that our especially residential market. And as long as the margins are concerned, as you're saying, there's a hardly single digit margins are there. So I don't see there any kind of much scope of the basically to bring down the prices. Only we need to understand like always quality comes with a price. Not only because of is something being sold or less, doesn't mean people should rush to sign the deal. So while this is good time to look for opportunity, and it's not a good time to take risk also. So this is all to Manish to you.
Thanks, Mesh. Thank you. Well, I think as all of you were sharing your views on price, the sentiment of the audience is in front of you. You know,
I'm glad it's come down.
Yes, I think at least there is still a majority of them expecting a drop, but not as much as I was sharing in the beginning of the webinar.
I have one quick comment to make.
Please.
You know, sometimes if you look at equity markets, there is a Nifty 30, Nifty 50, Nifty 100 versus low cap, mid cap. The customers have to make up their mind. They want to play in mediocre quality investments, or they want to invest in superior quality developments. If they don't get it, they will never get it right. So to expect, you know, low quality product with low price and expect appreciation to happen of a you know, blue chip company, they don't correlate. So if the investors are genuinely investors, they should invest in developments where compliance, title, quality, everything is high, and the probability of their appreciation will be higher and in a good location. The second part is the customers also get confused between secondary market and in primary market. You see, in secondary market, there could be pain. If some retail investors have picked up too much real estate and it's not appreciating and they want to cut losses, just like in stock market, you know, institutional panic mode happens and foreign investors exit India and some prices come down, soon you will realize some sensible investors in India pick up. So I'm trying to, although these two asset classes are very different, but I'm demonstrating the behavior of a buyer. So that understanding and maturity of the investor should be visible.
Yeah, it's a great point, Sanjay. I think very well put. Resale and new homes will offer very different kind of price movements and opportunities as well. Rajni, coming to you, we saw that when we were asking buyers if you're planning to, postpone your purchasing decisions in real estate. I mean, how long do you kind of want to push that out by? And when do you think you will ultimately start looking to buy again? So almost 60% of them were mentioning that they still plan to buy within a year. Those who were planning to buy pre-COVID and have stopped their buying journey right now for the lockdown reasons. 60% of them mentioned that they will come back within the next 9 to 12 months to again prospect and buy real estate. So and as we know, 50% of people don't own their own homes in the country, right? And maybe more in some of the bigger cities. So how do you see, which type of buyers do you think will return to the market earlier, and which type of buyers may return to the market later, given the current scenario?
So, like many of the panelists have highlighted in this discussion so far, prices had already been a little subdued in the last few years. And going forward, also, there will be some pressure on prices. So if you are a genuine buyer, a user, then definitely it's a good moment to come in and make your purchase. But what would be critical is the buyer's profile. If the buyer is more certain about his future income stream, then definitely they should come ahead and buy because prices are down, interest rates have been coming down, RBI has already cut by 75 basis points, and there are chances that going forward also RBI will cut policy interest rate, which could percolate into lower home loan rates. That sense, yes, this is a good opportunity, the good time. But what is more critical is for the buyer to evaluate what is their position, how is their own, financial health. If they are sure about their future income stream, then they should go ahead and buy. Otherwise, as I said, there's also a little uncertainty on future income stream for most of the people. And secondly, the buyer should also be very cautious about what kind of projects they are getting into. Because right now, you have to be very careful that you get into good quality projects, because going forward, it's quite possible. We have already seen that in the past, and it can get aggravated going forward, that a lot of housing projects could get stuck because of credit availability. So hence, the buyers at this point need to be very cautious. They should go for good quality projects. They should look at their own income stream, future income stream, and based on that, make their decision.
Rajni, building on that point, and this question is to you, Pradeep. A lot of the buyers are asking us that when they were looking at under construction projects, right? What are some of the things they need to keep in mind in these times, in terms of deciding what to look at, what to check, because most buyers are first-time buyers, right? They've not bought real estate in the past, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of purchase for most buyers. So they are keen to know from you, what is it that they should keep in mind when especially looking at under construction properties, because there are so many under construction properties all over the country right now. What would be your advice and some tips to them as regards under construction projects?
तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो एक चीज बहुत इसमें क्लियर रखनी पड़ेगी, जैसा रजनी ने भी मेंशन किया, इवन संजय ऑल्सो, सिर्फ डिस्काउंट को माइंड में रख के प्रॉपर्टी का डिसीजन लेना, मुझे लगता है अपनी हार्ड एंड मनी को रिस्क पे ले जाना है. आई थिंक सो द बेस्ट वे कि आप अपना जो डेवलपर है वो देखें कि क्या वो राइट है, उसका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड क्या रहा है, क्या उसका जो डिलीवरी जो मॉडल रहा है वो क्या एंड टाइम उसने पूरा किया है, उसका जो मार्केट का जो क्रेडिट वर्तीनेस है वो क्या है, और दूसरा जो प्राइस उसे मिल रहा है वो प्राइस क्या रेलिवेंट है. अगर जैसे भी संजय ने भी कहा कि जो प्रोजेक्ट हैं, अगर इनके साथ वाला भी प्रोजेक्ट है, इनका प्रोजेक्ट 20% प्रीमियम पे बिक रहा है और जो साथ वाला प्रोजेक्ट है वो डिस्काउंट पे भी नहीं बिक पा रहा है, इट मीन जो ब्रांड वैल्यू है वो मायना रख रही है. आई थिंक सो द बेस्ट वे, जैसे एज ए सिग्नेचर ग्लोबल में आपको कहूं तो 2015 से 2020 तक जो प्राइस हैं वो एज इट इज सेम है, क्योंकि वो गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी है. आज 2020 के प्राइस भी जो 2015 में जिस रेट पे अपार्टमेंट बुक करते थे सेम है. तो आप ही देखिए जो रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट है वो पिछले 5 साल में इंक्रीज हो चुकी है कम से कम 20% से ज्यादा. ऐसे में जब हम डिस्काउंट की बात करते हैं तो डिस्काउंट ऑलरेडी वो डिस्काउंटेड है क्योंकि प्राइस वहां पे इंक्रीज नहीं हुआ है. दूसरा इतना जरूरी है कि आप जब किसी भी प्रॉपर्टी का अपना चॉइस करें तो उसको, क्योंकि आपकी हार्ड एंड मनी है, आपको जाके उसके बारे में इंक्वायरी करें, ना कि किसी सेल्समैन के या पर्टिकुलरली किसी वे से कहने के पर्सनलाइज उसमें इन्वॉल्व हूं, क्योंकि आज जो घर खरीदना है वो लाइफ टाइम का वन टाइम इवेंट है। वो ऐसी चीज नहीं है कि आप अदर देन चीजों को खरीद सकते हैं दोबारा, लेकिन मुझे लगता है जो घर खरीदना है वो सबसे ज्यादा लाइफ का अहम पार्ट है। तो उसमें प्रॉपर इन्वॉल्व हों, उस जो डेवलपर है उसका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड देखें। और दूसरी बड़ी बात, आज जब अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग को जो गवर्नमेंट है इतना सपोर्ट कर रही है, आज प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना में जैसे आपने कहा कि जो पहली बार अपने लिए घर ले रहे हैं उनके लिए 90% होम लोन अवेलेबल है डिस्काउंटिंग रेट पे। जो सब्सिडी है, जैसे कल भी जो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने अनाउंसमेंट की है, जिनकी इनकम 6 लाख रुपए से 18 लाख रुपए के बीच में है, वो सब लोग उसे अवेल कर सकते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है वो बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी है, जिसमें लगभग जो 45 लाख रुपए तक के घर हैं उनके ऊपर वो अपॉर्चुनिटी लगभग 2,67,000 रुपए की बैठती है, जो एक बड़ा अमाउंट है। इवन जो जीएसटी है वो भी 45 लाख रुपए तक के घरों पे केवल 1% चार्ज हो रहा है। तो ये सारी चीजें जो हैं ये गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ऑलरेडी ऑफर की जा चुकी हैं। तो इन सारी चीजों की तरफ ध्यान करें, ना कि डिस्काउंट की तरफ, क्योंकि डिस्काउंट की तरफ जाने से आप किसी ना किसी ऐसे डेवलपर के पास या किसी ना किसी ऐसी प्रॉपर्टी के अंदर जो स्टकअप हो सकती है, ऐसे में जाने के चांस ज्यादा हैं। या अगर आपको लगता है कि ऐसी कोई प्रॉपर्टी जिसका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड अच्छा है और वो डेवलपर दे रहा है, तो शायद वो फिर मुझे लगता है वो कुछ टाइम के लिए मिल सकती है, अदरवाइज मुझे उसके चांसेस बहुत कम लगते हैं।
Okay. Thank you, Pradeep. Sushil, coming to you, do are you seeing, do you expect that the demand will, play out very differently in big cities versus smaller towns in India? So do you expect buyers to, in smaller towns, may return to the market quicker versus buyers in the bigger metros who may come back a little later? Is that something you are observing from your vantage position?
Again, it will depend on city to city. You cannot say that in all the bigger metro it will have the same situation, or all the smaller cities there will be more demand or less demand. It will absolutely depend on micro market, and supply and the supply basically. So as we have seen that supply across the country is going to reduce, and particularly supply in bigger markets like bigger cities will drastically reduce, because in bigger markets there is already existing inventory there, and the developers are committed to complete their existing projects. They will be focusing more on the completion of them and selling their existing inventories. And I think people will be more keen now. As I just wanted to add to the discussion which was happening, will be more keen to associate with a good developer. Like today, if you are buying a car, you would love to get a branded car like Mercedes or BMW, or if you are buying a mobile, you would like to buy one Samsung or Apple or something like that. So similarly, when you buy a home, which is one of the very important buy for your family, not just which is just not your personal use, but for your entire but your entire family. So one would always like to look for a good branded developer, like if that will again depend on the market to market. So people would love to go for a Merlin home or a Tata home or maybe a Prestige home or a DLF home or like that. So I think this is becoming more important. So the customers who are a little bit exposed or who understand things, I think they will always go for a good developer than the price. Prices are always important for a customer, but now the customer have definitely realized, and this is also been established in a lot of surveys, that the first priority today for a customer is a good brand, a good developer. Of course, the locations and the facilities are very important, and so the whole package is important for a customer. And given with the current scenario of reduced rate and the 1% GST on affordable home and the CLSS, all those things make it quite attractive. And if you ask me, and many people say that when is the best time to buy a home? Then the answer is that it was 5 years back, not today. It was 5 years back, because the prices will always increase, the cost will always increase. The same opportunity will never be there. Today, what home you can afford to buy in a location, in a good location, tomorrow you may not be able to buy a home in the same location. You may have to go a little further down. So, for example, 15 years back, 20 years back, people could buy a good home in premium location of South Calcutta, like Tollyganj or Maliganj. Now they just can't think of, and they are now settling with the far-flung area like Behala and Jokas, paying the same price or even more. So it is always, best time is 5 years back. That's what I believe in. Now, with regard to this the people coming back, there are 4 lakh people coming back. 4 lakh NRIs are coming back to the countries, and they all have money. A lot of people had invested in stock market, bond, bank deposits. So all those investments are becoming unattractive. So they will come back to real estate, because being at home for a long time, people have realized that the importance of a good home. A lot of people have seen that when the children are taking online classes, or when they have to do work from home, or when the entire family, a joint family with the parents is there, they have realized that they need a better home, a bigger home. The parents are advising that I have been telling you to buy a better home. Now, immediately after lockdown, you must look for. So I think, we will be seeing a lot of inquiries. Yes, the business pattern is changing. There'll be more online sales, there'll be more online visits, there'll be more virtual walkthrough of the project. People will do the virtual tour of the project. So those kind of tools the developers are now having. And we are, that is the reason that we are still having sales. Okay, it may not be of the same velocity, because after all, it's a very important decision for a customer to buy a home. He would like to visit the locality once. But at least those who have visited are taking decisions. So it's not that, everybody is looking for a discount. Yeah, it's a basic human psychology, as Sanjay has very nicely put, that customer is a king. He can always expect something, and we respect that expectation. It is a question that how much a developer can offer.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Sushil. I think I'll come to the aspect of using technology as well, in terms of connecting with buyers shortly. Before that, Pradeep ji, one of the things, some of the current buyers who have, already invested in some of the projects, they are asking is that, what is the kind of delay that this whole COVID situation is likely to make on the projects where they've already, bought certain property? Because we are also hearing, issues with migrant labor and many of them going back to their homes. And the government is trying to, of course, get them back and has rolled out certain softs for them also yesterday. What is your own take? What are you seeing on the ground? Are you seeing that there is adequate labor now in some of the projects where you need to complete construction? Or are you seeing that that's a long while away?
देखिए, बिल्कुल, ऑफ कोर्स जो ये प्रॉब्लम माइग्रेंट लेबर की है, ये कहीं ना कहीं फेस करनी पड़ रही है इस वक्त हमें। प्रैक्टिकली ग्राउंड के ऊपर ये चीजें फेस हो रही हैं। लेकिन देखिए, आज जब हम ब्रांड की बात कर रहे हैं या किसी भी रेप्यूटेड डेवलपर की बात कर रहे हैं, किसी भी एंगल से, तो इन सारे चैलेंजेस को सटल डाउन करके कैसे ज्यादा से ज्यादा स्पीडली कंस्ट्रक्शन को किया जा सकता है, वो वे तलाशने हैं। उसके लिए टेक्नोलॉजी का जो यूज है वो लेस लेबर के साथ कैसे ज्यादा किया जाए। दूसरा, जो लेबर, माइग्रेंट लेबर जा चुकी है या जा रही है, उसको कैसे कन्विंस किया जाए, या जो भी वे में जिस तरीके से उस कंस्ट्रक्शन को स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, मुझे लगता है वही वे बनाने पड़ेंगे। और आज वही लोग, वही डेवलपर आगे जाके सक्सेस हो पाएंगे जो अपने कस्टमर को आज ये शो कर पाएंगे कि हमने इस टफ टाइम के बाद भी अपने आप को दोबारा से उसी पेस में लेके आए हैं। लेकिन कुछ टाइम जरूर है, जैसे रेरा ने अभी जो एक्सटेंशन अलाउ किया है, जैसे जो अनाउंसमेंट अभी 2 दिन पहले हुई थी कि 6 महीने का जो एक्सटेंशन है वो प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर मिलेगा। आई थिंक सो थोड़ा सा वो मुझे लगता है और ज्यादा होना चाहिए था, लेकिन 6 मंथ का जो टाइम है उस टाइम में करने की पूरी कोशिश करेंगे। और वही एक ब्रांड है जो भी, चाहे जितने भी, जब हम ब्रांड की बात करते हैं वो सारी चीजें हमें ऑलरेडी मान के चलनी पड़ती हैं कि हम जितनी जल्दी हो सके उसको पेश करें। और नेचुरली बात है कि जो कस्टमर जो अपनी हार्ड अर्न मनी के साथ आज हमारे प्रोजेक्ट में पैसा लगा रहा है, उसको जो कमिटमेंट हमने किए हैं उस कमिटमेंट पे हम पूरा उतर पाए।
Okay. So, Sanjay, coming to you next, what are the ways in which now that social distancing, etc., is kind of top of mind for everybody, not just in real estate, even otherwise? How are you, looking at technology or other innovative ways in terms of connecting with, some of your prospective buyers? A lot of buyers in the audience are also concerned as to, they want to buy a property, but, they don't want to obviously right now go and physically make a visit because they are scared about, catching the virus. And even if they take precautions, others may not take precautions around them. So how are you as a builder thinking of connecting with such prospective buyers in these times?
Manish, we have done three things. First, we organized a webinar with our channel partners because they are the most important piece of our strategy. And I think most residential developers will value that.
Yeah.
So we recently conducted a webinar with 2,000 brokers from all over the world and India. And we presented market data, pros and cons, demand and supply. So we basically equipped them with correct information. Then we them with correct project information. Then we ran through our entire digital platform, how the customer journey and the broker journey effortlessly, without any hindrance to the pre-COVID period, would be maintained. So the brokerages are being paid on time, the customer, payments, ledgers, all are being maintained. Everything is normal. There is no disruption. The only two things are ink signature on the agreement which the government wants you to do and register, which is not happening. Even Maharashtra has allowed it there as well, by the way. So I'm sure other states will follow very soon. The second aspect was that we reached out to all our customers through digital platforms, social media, etc., our databases, and we have educated them that we are ready. We have changed our standard operating procedures to enable legal possession online. You see, legal possession in India is generally viewed as physical possession of the property. कि physically चाबी आपने दे दी तो possession हो गया. For a brand like Tata, which is also important for other reputed developers, customers have no fear whatsoever. So when you send the agreements and possession letters at home or through email, digitally signed, they take it seriously. Even HDFC Bank and many other have started processing loans digitally. And I think other banks have no choice but to now adapt. So even those changes are taking place. So it was adaptability, embracing education, information, intimation to customer. And then we need to ensure, so by the way, we have 16 projects already gone live. We have total of 18. 16 have gone live, 2 are about to go. So construction has commenced with full workforce. Our labor camps already had workers there. Only in Calcutta and Alipur, we have not started. And one Chennai, where we're building a Taj service apartment, where we've not started. Everywhere is started. So the progress can be shown to the customer. Then we've also shown empathy. You need to give customers a little bit of extra time to make their payments. Their previous sales that have happened, collections, we thought will show a little bit of concern and give everybody time. So when your language to the customer is that we sympathize with the market, we are accommodating, we are making arrangements at our experience centers that when you come, your safety is our responsibility. We have every possible precaution at every stage of our customer visiting our experience center or construction site, that there'll be no risk whatsoever. So we made a lot of changes around this. And then we've taken the pain to go and inform everybody, every stakeholder. That's how we've gone about it.
That's quite interesting, and I think the part that you mentioned about just sharing all the credible information and educating everybody about what's really going on at a project level or at a larger city level, and giving them the confidence that this is where things are, could make a lot of difference for particularly builders like you.
We
good brand.
I recently did a 101 with 50 brokers in North and East, and they gave us the questions. So we did objection handling exercise. What are the questions the customers are asking? And what are the right answers for us? And we are preparing a deck for all our channel partners. It's almost like a pitch book. Data points, facts, supported, so it enables them to articulate better.
Sure.
Just to add what Sanjay said,
questions,
I wanted to add something to what Sanjay said.
Please go ahead.
You see, we have worked with our registration department here in Bengal, and we have started this e-registration here. The properties can be digitally registered now, and we also got the registration offices open with, of course, limited staff, but at least because as per VERA, the sale agreement has to be registered, so we got them. We did that at OPC, and because after all, it is customers' convenience as well as the revenue of government is also involved. So the business is coming back to the in the usual course. With regard to this, digital platform and virtual walkthrough, now with this software, you can actually give a complete digital tool to the customer. Like you can see the entire locality. He can, as he enters into the site, as he can see from which window what will be the view and what are the facilities, how they will be. Which will be almost like a real life experience. So customers are, that way we are enabling our channel partners, and we are also helping our customers to take a decision. And soon in time to come, I think even after post-COVID, a lot of customers would like to have the first round of property visit by digitally. And once they were shortlisted, out of say 10 properties, they have shortlisted 2 or 3, they will visit only those. This is going to stay. Over to you.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, I think just building on that, both Sanjay and Sushil, we had recently tried to also facilitate more online interaction of buyers with our channel partners or our builder partners. We did a couple of webinars recently in Pune and some in South and in Calcutta, and we were quite surprised as well as happy with the fact that a lot of engaged buyers came on those webinars. And our partners were also, able to credibly present their point of view in a not in a rushed environment, in a very online convenient environment. And people were quite happy that they got to hear from the real voices at the builder's end. Because many times people want to hear from some of the heads or some of the more senior folks rather than just the frontline folks at the builder's end. And through these webinars, we're realizing that we're able to very conveniently get the two sides to talk to each other in a group without making it inconvenient for anybody.
Manish, I want to make one quick point.
Please.
I believe developers suffer from perception issue. So, everybody in this country, almost like a fashion, likes to be developers for some reason. But do you know that during COVID-19, the maximum contribution to any state has been by the developers? Developers have gone out, given meals to construction workers, looked after their health and wellness, provided them doctors, sent monies to their homes if somebody is suffering, making sure they're given monies on time. And then in addition to that, for example, the Maharashtra government called us. We had a rental housing project. We handed over to the government in Kalyan in Mumbai. They said, can you, this building was lying unutilized for 2-3 years. Can you make it functional? So we went ahead, redid the whole thing. We gave it back to the government. We used that for their quarantine facility. So I think developers have not done a good job of how the same developers are spending millions of dollars to contribute to the society. And one more thing, I'll take a second more. We saw encroachment in our Gurgaon project around the periphery of the project. We gave 1.5 crores to the NGO, to the government, to create cycle track for 1.5 kilometer and a jogging track. Which developer, after handing over the project to the society, will spend 1.5 crore rupees in making the look and feel of the project better? We spent 84 crores last year across all country to create the factor of our projects. So developers are actually suffering for perception. The customers need to see the human side, that how they are contributing to the society. If we are asking you for collection, that's because we are paying the construction workers, because we're paying to the bank, because we're paying to the government. Eventually that is helping the economy, and that economy is creating jobs for those very customers itself. They forget that. Somebody has to educate them. Okay, this is a food chain, and we all have to play our respective role to ensure, and that's why it is important for customers to make a distinction. If a developer is giving you green building versus a non-green building, now as a customer, wouldn't you like to be part of the environment contribution? Isn't your social responsibility to be sensitive to the environment? And wouldn't you like to pay a 5% premium for that development? The customers have to ask these questions now. Until now, they were only comparing everybody on the same yardstick of price. It's very dated in thinking.
No, I would like to inform you that KREDAI nationally, total collectively, has spent over 200 crore rupees in this COVID crisis for various welfare work in the society. In fact, we have provided one complete building to West Bengal government here near EM bypass for making a quarantine center. So developers, a lot of developers collectively and on their own level, at their own level, they are doing wonderful job, and that needs to be appreciated. The developers are providing, we are the biggest job provider after agriculture sector. We are providing jobs to absolutely uneducated wage workers. So where otherwise they are not employable. So we are skilling them. The KREDAI has a big skilling program. We are skilling those unskilled workers to skilled workers, and we are making them better workers. So a lot of work going on, which a channel like yours can definitely bring to the knowledge of public at large. I'm very happy, doing this show, and so a lot of people can understand the real life picture.
Yes, thanks, Sushil, for that. I think well put by both you and Sanjay. There's certainly a lot of good work that happens as well, which gets missed by end buyers sometimes from the developers. Rajni, coming to you, one of the questions I'm getting, this is from a gentleman in Bombay, and this is a live, now we're onto the live Q&A session. He's asking about that, traditionally he thought real estate was a pretty safe asset class to invest in, right? And now given the current situation where he's expecting real estate to go through a bit of a tough time, as well as stocks are seeing a certain beating in the stock market. What is the advice you'd like to give investors like him?
So traditionally, real estate was looked at as a good avenue for investment. So what we have seen is, if you look at the data, in terms of household savings, a large part of it traditionally in India used to be parked in physical asset, which is mainly real estate. But if you see, the situation has been kind of changed in the last few years. And if you look at the real estate market, now there are more of actual end users and less of investors in the market. Now, at the current juncture, again, people are looking at real estate favorably, because what we have seen, at least if you look at this year, since Jan, we have seen sharp fall in all other asset classes, especially equity market has seen a sharp fall. At the same time, we have had some issues with mutual funds, debt mutual funds actually. So people are looking at real estate again favorably. But I would say that when you're looking at real estate from an investment perspective, definitely you should only look at it, you're looking at it from a long-term point of view. And I also say that it's better to, if you're looking at it from investment perspective, to look at ready to buy projects than projects which are under construction. Because as I said, there is this big risk that developers are going to face in terms of credit availability, a lot of other issues, labor issues, raw material issues in the near term. Hence, it's very important to focus on, like I said, good developers, and also to be on safer side, it would be better to look at ready projects. And as I said, if you're looking at it from investment perspective, you should have a longer time horizon, because I feel that some pain in the real estate sector is going to be there for some more time.
Okay. Thank you. There's another question coming from, this one's from Bangalore. So I'll address it to you, Mahesh. This is from, this is asking about, as a buyer, the buyer is saying that, I'm confused between selecting a resale option in residential versus a new project, right? And I think apparently both those options are probably in the same area in Bangalore. So the location is not very different. But, the new home project is obviously under construction. The resale one is, the resale property is kind of ready to move and is available in front of the buyer's eyes. So he's asking that I'm really confused, what should I really do? Advice from, experts like you to buyers like him. Mahesh, I think you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. I think Sanjay already covered this point basically, that always as a buyer prospect point of view, so buy directly from the developers. And resale property that might have bring so many things, if and buts in between. We do not know in between what he might have done in between with the property. So always I would advise for the buyer prospect point of view, he should get into it directly with interacting with the developer. So because with buyer, he doesn't only buy the property, it's a lot of sentimental also attached to it. So basically, when you're going to buy, he might have to looking some kind of his expectation from that kind of some changes. Those being a developer only can consider those things. So always I advise basically for buyer, he should go directly to under construction, directly to the developer. So that he can meet the requirement. As long as the resellers are concerned, they just might have invested some time. We do not know how long this basically property he might have been invested and might be lying with them. So for the buyer prospect point of view, he should invest directly with the developers. That's the best for the customers.
Sure. One of the questions coming from Delhi is, asking whether buyers can expect a further cut in home loan rates from any of the banks. So I'll leave this as an open question. Maybe anyone can take this.
So can I answer? So I think.
Yeah, Vidit, please go ahead.
So I think जो होम लोन रेट्स हैं ऑलरेडी जो अपने 10 साल के लोअर पे इस वक्त चल रहे हैं 7.5% का अगर हम होम लोन रेट देखें तो लास्ट 10 ईयर के लो पे है और आने वाले टाइम में और भी इसमें कट होने की गुंजाइश है. तो आई थिंक मुझे लगता है कि जो होम लोन रेट्स हैं वो अभी बढ़ने की गुंजाइश नहीं है बिल्कुल भी. सो इन ए लॉन्गर वे वो कहीं ना कहीं और आपको कट डाउन उसमें होता हुआ मिलेगा क्योंकि जो आरबीआई है वो अभी इनफ फंड के साथ बैठा है। बहुत सारे बैंक हैं जिन्होंने रिवर्स रेपो के अंदर पैसा आरबीआई के पास लैंड किया हुआ है। तो आई थिंक सो मुझे लगता है आने वाले टाइम में एक बहुत बड़ी जो फंड है वो इन होम लोन कंपनीज के पास होगा जो कम रेट के ऊपर अवेलेबल होगा।
So
I see. Rajni, how do you see the home loan rates going in the future?
So yeah, I agree with Pradeep. RBI has already cut policy interest rate by around 75 basis points. I think that going forward, there are chances of another 50 to 75 basis cut in policy interest rate. Because when RBI looks at how the interest rate is going to move, they basically look at what's the growth outlook for the economy and what's the inflation outlook. So currently, we do not have any inflationary concern because the demand is going to be so weak that there is not going to be much pressure on inflation. So with inflation concern out of the way, RBI will focus on the growth concerns and hence is likely to cut interest rates further. As far as home loans are concerned, I think now that, all the lending rates are linked to external rate, benchmark rate, the housing loan rate will also go down, may not by as much as RBI will cut the policy interest rate. The home loan rate may go down by a little lesser amount, but yes, home loan rate will also go down in line with cut in the RBI policy interest rate.
Sanjay, please go ahead.
I believe this country cannot sustain real estate development business on high interest cost of capital. It's not about homeowners paying 7.5% or 6%. The businesses cannot survive at such high interest rates. So in the long term, the interest rates even for developers should be 4 to 5% and not 9 to 10% or 15%. It's just not sustainable. So I believe there is a structural shift and there is consolidation. All this will lead to some overall structural changes and interest rates will be a big piece of this.
Sure, thanks for that. Next question is from Pune. The gentleman wants to know that when it comes to investing in commercial properties, right? How has the situation changed from your perspective after COVID-19 and this sudden downturn? This seems like a commercial investor, and he'd like to know whether as you mentioned earlier, also I think Sanjay mentioned that commercial yields have come down compared to what they used to be some years ago, from 10-12% to 7-8%. Does the panel see a further drop in that, and how should a commercial investor reevaluate their options in commercial investing?
I will take this question if you're okay.
Please go ahead.
I believe these investors are referring to retail commercial investors, where developers make small units in a building and sells like residential, so they can lease it or guaranteed return basis of 8 or 9%. Initially, they give 12%, and when the lease happens, they transfer the asset at 8% or 9%.
Yeah.
I believe retail commercial investor market is highly risky. You see, when big developers give leases to big multinational corporations like Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, they have ability to pay rent even in difficult times. When small offices get leased to smaller companies, they're not able to sustain at all times. So during difficult times, they go through a dip. And that's when the leases go through a correction, payments don't come on time, or they terminate and exit. So I think retail investors should be very careful with their investment. They should either own the building or own a floor, but not a unit of 2,000 or 500 square feet. That will be highly risky. That's what I take. But overall demand, I think, has come down and will go down for about a year or two. but I think it is going to bounce back. There is no doubt about it. And by the way, a lot of people say that the office market in India is doing well because multinational companies are coming. By the way, no CEO of any global multinational company will tell you that we are coming to India because there is commercial real estate available. They're coming to India because there is talent available. And the cost of talent is low. Real estate is a byproduct. So I believe commercial real estate will continue to do well because this country has talent and young talent, and they are now skilled and experienced in IT sector, and they can adapt very fast. That's the point.
So I may add for the general knowledge of the investors here. Soon now there is a product called REIT available, Real Estate Investment Trust. So all those vanilla investors, all those small investors who want to invest in real estate with commercial properties with a decent return can buy those units which are tradable and where the value is I think 3 lakh plus or something like that. So soon this will be more common. REIT, like I rent out entire office building or a shopping mall or a hotel and put them and transfer them to a REIT, and that is then sold to the investors. So those kind of models will be more prominent in time to come. It has already started, and soon the investor will be able to invest in them.
Sure, thank you. This looks like a question related to renting versus buying houses. And Rajni, this is for you, specifically asked by one of the webinar participants from Bangalore. And he wants to know whether millennials would kind of prefer renting compared to buying houses. And that's been something as a trend which we've seen in the past. Now with the current situation, do you think this trend will reverse? Will some of the younger millennials also prefer to buy houses, or do you see that they will prefer to stay on rent for a much longer time in their lifetimes, whether in co-living spaces or in individual rented houses?
See, I don't think the trend entirely reversing. Some people may prefer now to buy a house because of this, the kind of uncertainty experience has shown all of us. But overall, I feel that millennials would prefer to be very mobile. They are changing their jobs. They are not stuck to one city. Wherever they see opportunity, they would like to move there. And also another thing, this current millennial, as we have all been talking about, and not just for housing, for all products, they are more, they're more keen on experience, and they're not very keen on owning asset. And I think that fundamentally may not change so quickly by this. Some percentage of them might start thinking of buying a house, but the whole trend is not going to reverse. Because if you look at the millennials, they're also seeing, okay, which is the property coming. I'm living here now. I want to move to this one, even if it's in the same city, because there's a new property which has come up, which has better amenities. So we are also seeing that happening all around us. So I think the trend is not going to entirely reverse, and the millennials will continue to prefer renting than buying.
I disagree.
Okay.
I would like to add to this point that the government of India is already thinking creating a rental stock of property. In fact, now it is more important that the government should consider very seriously for creating rental stock of property for all kind of people, even for the factory workers, the construction workers. And yesterday announcement of this the new Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana was somewhere close to that. And I'm very happy if these models are developed properly. This rental stock in this country needs to grow, where we can create those, like we are creating office buildings or shopping malls and we are renting out. Similarly, we can create these rental housing estates. It's very common in Dubai, America, and many countries where there are developers who are developing these rental housing estates, and they renting it out and then selling it to REIT or some financial institute. And But then, you know, we need a lot of reform into that. We need to have rent control act to be corrected. We need to have, all the stakeholders to come together, because right now the yield in rental is quite less. To make it attractive, government has to offer some soap, maybe some relief in needful tax, some relief in GST, or some exemption in income tax. But if at least for these migratory worker, or if these poor workers or these construction workers, if we can have some policy whereby, you know, we can create a demand by making it mandatory to provide housing. If I am putting a factory, it will be my responsibility to provide housing so that they don't create another slum. With this COVID spreading in Dharavi slums and all, now we need to take lesson. We need to create this kind of rental housing for the migratory worker, for the factory worker, for the construction worker. And that is only possible if all the stakeholders come together. We need to have cheaper loans, cheaper lands, lot of policy framework, lot of exemption in the taxation, but the reward will be huge. Today, these slums and all, the price, social price and the financial price to the local bodies and the government is huge, which is indirect. But if we can have these kind of housing estates, we can clean up our cities and we can have much better societies. Our crime rates can come down. So I think, you know, this policy what yesterday government has announced, if this is brought properly, consulting all the stakeholders and with involvement of all the stakeholders and all the governments, the central, local bodies, state government, this can become a game changer. This can also help the entire economy. This can bring the real estate sector on track.
Sure.
A lot
Yeah.
of jobs can be created. A lot of industries can get support. Yeah, over to you.
Thanks, Sushil. I think you know, we've been getting a lot of questions, but we've run out of time. Just to share, I think we had almost more than 1,000 participants in this, hearing all of you across Facebook as well as on live on this webinar. Thank you. I'd like to thank each one of you, Mahesh, Sanjay, Pradeep, Rajni, Sushil, for taking out time and sharing your views with our buyers and investors. I'd also like to give a big thanks to all the participants who across the country, big towns, small towns, some NRIs also joined us for this webinar. Thank you so much for attending this. As part of the 99 Acres Realty Buzz series, we'll be initiating many more such webinars with industry stalwarts over a period of the year. And I hope to see many more of you again back on the panel, as well as on many of the participants again, shooting their questions to us. Thank you so much again.